This is a story about the clash between two very different worlds in 19th century England: the calm, green countryside of the south and the smoky industrial towns of the north. At the center of this story is Margaret Hale, a young woman whose life changes completely when she is forced to move from her peaceful home into the heart of the Industrial Revolution. Through her eyes, we see love, conflict, class struggle, and the search for understanding between different people. The Margaret. Hale grew up in a quiet village in the south of England, living peacefully with her parents. She was gentle, intelligent, and had a strong sense of right and wrong. For many years, she stayed with her wealthy relatives in London. But deep in her heart, she loved the countryside life more than the city. Her father, Mr. Hale, was a clergyman in the Church of England. But one day, he faced a crisis of conscience. He no longer agreed with certain teachings of the church. Unable to continue his duties, he resigned. This decision shocked the family and changed their lives forever. With no steady income, the Hales had to leave their comfortable southern home and move to the industrial town of Milton in the north. Where Mr. Hale would work as a private tutor, Milton was a world very different from the south. The town was full of smoke, noise, and factories. The streets were dirty and the air was filled with coal dust. Margaret was not used to this harsh environment. She found it ugly and depressing, but she decided to stay strong for her parents. In Milton, they met Mr. John Thornton, a wealthy cotton mill owner who became one of Mr. Hale's pupils. Thornton was serious, proud, and hardworking. He believed in discipline and thought his strict management style was necessary to run a successful mill. He was admired for his determination, but also feared by his workers. At first, Margaret disliked Thornton. She thought he was too cold, too harsh with his workers, and only cared about profit. Thornton, on the other hand, admired Margaret's courage, intelligence, and sense of justice, though he also felt irritated by her boldness. Their relationship was tense, filled with unspoken attraction, but also sharp. Disagreements. Margaret soon became aware of the struggles of the workers in Milton. She befriended a poor mill worker named Bessie Higgins, who was slowly dying from inhaling cotton dust at the factory. Through Bessie and her father, Nicholas Higgins, Margaret learned about the suffering of the working class: long hours, low wages, and dangerous conditions. Her heart ached for them and she wanted to help. At the same time, a great conflict arose. The workers of Milton organized a strike, demanding better wages and conditions. Thornton, like many mill owners, refused to give in, believing it would ruin business. Tension built in the town. Margaret found herself caught in the middle, sympathizing with the workers, but also trying to understand Thornton's point of view. During one violent moment, when an angry mob of workers gathered outside Thornton's house, Margaret bravely stepped forward to protect him. She placed herself between Thornton and the furious crowd. This act shocked everyone, including Thornton himself. For the first time, he realized the depth of her courage. His feelings for her grew stronger, but misunderstandings continued. Thornton misread Margaret's actions, thinking she cared for another man. Margaret, too proud to admit her feelings, continued to keep her distance from him. Their relationship remained full of tension, with love hidden behind pride and miscommunication. Meanwhile, tragedy struck Margaret's family. Her mother fell seriously ill and eventually died. Later, her father also passed away, leaving Margaret alone and heartbroken. She went back to the south for a time, weighed down by grief and uncertainty about her future. Thornton, too, faced difficulties. His business collapsed during financial troubles, and he lost much of his wealth. For a man who had built his life on strength and determination, this was a painful fall. Fate, however, brought Margaret and Thornton together once more. Margaret had inherited money from a relative, and she decided to invest it in Thornton's mill. This was not only a financial rescue, but also a symbol of trust and partnership. When they finally met again, both had changed. Margaret had grown stronger through her struggles. Thornton had become more compassionate after experiencing loss. At last, the pride and misunderstandings between them melted away. Thornton confessed his love honestly, and Margaret, no longer afraid, accepted him with an open heart. The North and the South, two very different worlds, were joined together through their union. symbolizing understanding between classes, between traditions and progress, and between love and duty. The story of North and South is not just a love story, but also a powerful reflection of the social changes of the time. It shows the struggles of ordinary workers, the responsibilities of wealthy mill owners, and the need for empathy between different sides of society. At its heart, it tells us that true love and respect can only grow when pride is set aside and people try to understand each other. Margaret and Thornton's journey from misunderstanding to love is a reminder that strength and compassion must go hand in hand, just like the North and the South. Asterisk. Thanks for watching. If you really like the story, please do like, share, subscribe, comment on my channel, World Stories. See you on the next video.